President Trump posting about Mamdani on Truth Social, saying that he'll have a hard time getting funding from the feds if he wins, something he told me about first in my interview back in June. Here's the president with me earlier this year. Watch.
Democrat primary. Mamdani.
He's a communist. I think it's very bad for New York. I don't know that he's going to get in. It's inconceivable that but he's a communist, and he's a pure communist. I think he admits it, but I can't imagine it. But let's say this. If he does get in, I'm going to be president, and he's going to have to do the right thing, or they're not getting any money. He's got to do the right thing. It's shocking that I would have assumed that I used to say we will never have a socialist in this country. No, but we'll have a communist.
Who would you be poised to support in New York? I know that you.
Well, I don't want to say that. Whoever's mayor of New York is going to have to behave themselves, or the federal government is coming down very tough on them financially.
Tiana, your reaction.
Donald Trump is old enough to remember in the 70s when President Ford initially refused to bail out New York City out of its own incompetence. And ultimately, the federal government at the 11th hour did save the day. Not so fast anymore. Mamdani's banking on the fact that people don't vote with their feet, but that's a lie. In the last 10 years, New York has lost over $100 billion in adjusted gross income because people realize you can go to the free state of Florida, you can go to North Carolina, you can go to Georgia. And so Mamdani, while you have MTA with a $33 billion hole in its budget, failing public schools, a crime problem people want to continue to invest in, he's saying not just the $100 billion for illegal immigrants who are not even U.S. citizens, $65 million, Maria, on more transgender surgeries, because that worked so well for Kamala Harris. Good luck, New York, because we're banking on Andrew Cuomo having decent political instincts, which I have not seen evidence of in the last 30 years.
Well, I mean, look, I've been making the point that I think that the Republicans are willing to sacrifice New York. And, you know, they expect that it's going to be good for them in the midterms. And by the way, it might. You know, look what's happening, Ryan. Okay, just look at J.P. Morgan. Do you know that according to the New York Post, which is out with this piece today, J.P. Morgan now employs more people in Texas over New York City. The New York Post reporting that there are 519,000 J.P. Morgan employees in Texas offices, compared to New York City's 507,000, Ryan.
Yeah, that is wild, but it also speaks to the fluidity of labor now, right? I even look at my own business. I'm very embedded in New York, but, you know, I have employees that work in New Jersey and Florida, and even clients now. You know, a lot of it's done over Zoom calls. So I think the problem here is if you start to see some of these socialist policies and taxes go up, you know, I have the luxury of saying, hey, I could move my business to a more tax-friendly state. And believe me, I would love to do these interviews with a tan, you know, Miami in the background. Maybe as tan as Ken Paul Carey on this show. But, you know, hopefully it doesn't come to that. But I think that's the issue here is New Yorkers that have means can leave, and it's easier than ever if you have a business because, again, the fluidity now that of where you can actually have your business is, you know, drastically since the pandemic.
And look how many people left New York, Ryan, and went to Florida. But it's the same idea. No income tax, a better treatment in terms of your money. That's where they're going to Florida. That's where they're going to Texas.
Yeah, I mean, no taxes on state taxes is an incredible savings, right? It's actually, and the weather's better, by the way. So yeah, there's so many reasons.
There's that.
Yeah, so I take that as well, Maria. So yeah, so bottom line is here, that's where the tightrope is here. You can really turn off a lot of New Yorkers that run big businesses to leave this city like they did before.
And I think it's also just having a government that wants you, having a government that wants to build housing that you can afford.
Yeah, for sure. And the safety levels as well. If you're not going to align with the police in New York, well, I bet you Texas is aligning with their law enforcement.